Hi, welcome to Ripples of Faith. I'm Jenny. Thank you so much for coming. We're reading Exodus. I'm reading out of the New King James Version, and I will be making comments as we go along. You're welcome to read with me, or you can listen to it in the background. And I would love to hear your comments if you have any insights. The Lord has told you something about the different passages that we read. You are welcome to make a comment in the comment sections below this. I love the Lord, and I love His Word, and I love to share it, and I think it's a good thing when we discuss it amongst each other, and we can learn from each other as well. So we're going to read Exodus chapter 2, and Moses is born. So verse 1, and a man of the house of Levi went and took as his wife a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw that he was a beautiful child, and she hid him 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark of bulrush for him, dabbed it with asphalt and pitch, and put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the river bank. And his sister stood far off to know what would be done of him. So this is kind of makes you think about Noah, where the Lord put Noah in that ark as a protection, but also as a deliverance. And the water coming and taking Noah's ark away, and we're going to see that the river is also going to take, well, this is baby Moses, but he hasn't been named yet, but he's going to also be taken to safety. Verse 5, then the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, and her maidens walked along the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her maid to get it. And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. So she had compassion on him, and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. So she knew this was a Hebrew child. She probably didn't have to think very hard to figure out that one of the Hebrew mothers was trying to save her child by sending it out basically adrift on the water and let the Lord take care of it. And of course he did. And then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. So the maiden went and called the child's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages. So the woman took the child and nursed him, and the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. So she called his name Moses, saying, because I drew him out of the water. So that's how he got his name. Now we're in verse 11. Moses is going to flee to Midian. Now it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out to his brethren and looked at their burdens. And he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his brethren. So he looked his way in that, and when he saw no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 Hebrew men were fighting, and he said to the one who did wrong, why are you striking your companion? Then he said, who made you a prince and judge over us? Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptians? So somebody knew what he had done, right? So Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. When Pharaoh heard of this matter, he sought to kill Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian and sat down by a well. Now, there's a couple things here that I just noticed I want to bring up. First of all, Moses apparently knew he was a Hebrew. He knew he wasn't a Jew. He wasn't an Egyptian. And so he had some compassion on the slaves. He really wasn't stuck up about it. And then he did something sinful, what he thought was in secret, but it wasn't. Remember, I said he looked this way and looked that way, and then he killed that person, and then he hid him in the sand. But people saw it anyway, and we want to keep in mind that even if we think that we got away with something, God sees it. We don't get away with anything, okay? But the other thing that I think is interesting here is that, well, a couple things. First of all, Moses is a Hebrew, and the Hebrew babies were being killed, and yet he grew up in Pharaoh's household. So there's something odd there. What is going on with Pharaoh? Is he, I don't know. Why didn't he tell his daughter no? Was she spoiled rotten and she got what she wanted? Did he not realize that, this person could grow up to be the one that he feared so much anyway? And then Moses is almost killed again because he committed a sin against Egypt. He committed a sin in murder, but he also basically broke a law and made Pharaoh mad, and now Pharaoh's going to kill him. So maybe Pharaoh didn't have so much attachment to Moses himself like the daughter did. I don't know. It doesn't say one way or another. And then the interesting thing is that Pharaoh now is facing his own demise, and so he runs away. Okay, and he goes to Midian. And now we're in verse 16. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and they filled the troughs to water their father's flock. When the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. So basically, the ladies are feeding their flock. The shepherds come along, and they're kind of pulling rank on them because they're men, and they're shooing them away, and they're stronger and all that. And then Moses is like, I'll help you. And so he helps them water the flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how is it that you've come so soon today? So they ended up finishing a lot faster than what they normally do. And they said, an Egyptian, they thought Moses was an Egyptian, delivered us from the hand of the shepherds, and he also drew water for us and watered the flock. So he said to his daughters, where is he? Why is it that you left the man? Call him that we may eat bread. Then Moses was content to live with the man, and he gave Zipporah, his daughter, to Moses, and she bore him a son. And he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a foreign land. So he ends up going back, and he marries Zipporah. He stays there. They wanted to thank him, and he ended up just never leaving, right? And now it happened in the process of that time that the king of Egypt died. So the king that was oppressing the Hebrews when Moses was a little baby and wanted to kill Moses for killing the slave, now that king has died. Then the children of Israel groaned because of the bondage, and they cried out, and their cry came up to God because of the bondage. So God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham and with Isaac and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God acknowledged them. So I'm kind of thinking that it may have even gotten worse because now they're crying out even more. Maybe not, it may be just the same, but there's a new king now. So now we're even further removed away from the promises that Egypt had made and the agreements that they had with Joseph and Jacob. We're even further away from that. Sounds to me like things might have even gotten worse. And Moses is not even there anymore. So that's the end of chapter 2.